I forgot my hat.
No hat? Oh, that's just wrong. Well, the Super Bowl is over, which means we have to listen to New England Patriots fans scramble to find something to complain about. I don't think Tom Brady's ascot is jaunty enough. That's right, the National Football League's evil empire is on top again, and we all gotta take it. While this is going on, players are getting arrested, and the Browns might be more of a disaster than the Titans, and damn it, I miss it already. Sharona, help me, help me!
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting times right now in the NFL. Despite all the Ballgate drama, the Patriots won their, I forget how many, kiss the rings, kiss the rings. Hello, kitty.
Gate.
I can purr like a cat, by the way, in case anybody was wondering.
I heard that. This guy can. Chewy, why do you like being on, like,
Hi,
shows
kitty,
and stuff?
kitty.
You don't really like it so much when you get on there, like, this isn't so good.
We should leave the cat up there because I'm here, dark circles and all, lack of sleep, but I'm here. The show must go on. The grind never stops. Blah blah.
Yeah, so, yeah, a guy who was basically like the last guy on the Patriots roster makes the biggest play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We were at a friend's house, and as it goes, when the Patriots win the Super Bowl, rooting for the Seahawks like they're our favorite team. And the guy who was hosting a party is like, hey, what's the number of our friend who's a big Patriots fan? I want to send him a text right before that play happened. I'm like, why don't we wait till they actually score? And look at that. Look how it goes.
Yeah. It's not over till it's over. Or, as the case may be, it's not over until Russell Wilson throws a pick at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, that whole thing. I mean, one thing I liked about the play itself was what you got to look into just one play in the NFL and all the stuff that goes into it, and the fact that those receivers might have been as bad as when the Titans were in the Super Bowl. No, they weren't that bad. But Ricardo Lockett, a guy who had 18 career catches, and what was it? Curse was supposed to block Brandon Browner, who's like the biggest cornerback in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know if they got too cute or if
It wasn't a bad play call. I know everybody's all up in their feelings that it was such a bad play
we have
call.
feelings.
It was not a bad play call.
Well, I'd say the execution wasn't.
The result was bad, but it wasn't. I mean, they still, the old saying goes, right? There are how many things that can happen when you throw the ball and one of them ain't good?
Pretty much. Yeah, I think in that situation, they probably thought the worst thing that was going to happen was an incomplete pass. They did say, I think, of all the passes from the 1-yard line the entire season, this was the first one that was intercepted. Wait, no Titans did that? Come on, step it up, guys.
Well,
You never got to the 1-yard line. That's the
he
problem.
looked open. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
he
game
looked
of
open.
inches.
The guy read it well, and it was really good, really a good defensive play. If he had just
It was
knocked
a
the
good
ball
defensive
down,
play.
that would have been a good play. But
Hmm
you saw, like somebody had a screen capture of when the guy made the slant, and he was open, but he got knocked the crap out of him by a smaller guy. Dang Patriots. At least Brady's getting in the truck. That's nice.
Yeah, that was nice. That was well. I mean,
Brady
that's
makes it.
peanuts to Brady and Giselle, but still, it was a nice gesture.
Exactly. But the key, I guess, the whole thing is that it was a really good game, and it was two smart coaches. I mean, Belichick basically took out his nickel cornerback and replaced him with Butler, and he was involved. There was a play earlier in the game where he basically tripped Curse right when he was about to catch a ball, and he was like 20 yards downfield and wide open, and he just grabbed his leg and knocked him down. The refs didn't see it, so that was a play that, one of those hidden plays that you just don't see. But yeah,
What did you think of the officiating, Zach? They missed a roughing the kicker call too.
Yeah, they must have, because when the preseason happened, they were talking about all these calls they're going to make, and they were calling like pass interference on every other pass. They must have told the refs, you swallow your whistle, because there were like 4 penalties the entire game. I mean, there was practically nothing. Yeah, that early punt, I don't even like once they created that running into the kicker thing, they never call roughing the kicker unless you hit him like you hit a quarterback. Because you hit the guy in the plant leg, it probably should be a penalty. I don't know. They let him play, and they played pretty well. I mean, the Patriots basically said, we're just going to throw short passes all day, and hey, it worked.
Well, I mean that's not just that wasn't just a Super Bowl thing. That's how they got there. Tom Brady's long ball is basically trash these days, but you know, fans dig the long ball, but whatever gets you to the end zone is how you. I mean, it all works for me.
It's like, what a combination. Maybe, well, I was going to say like the Ravens 49ers was equal in terms of lack of talent at receiver, but they
I
had
mean,
Anquan
what
Bolden and Torrey Smith in this game.
the
Brendan
Patriots
LaFell.
went into the fourth quarter down 10, and Tom Brady led 2 scoring drives of 9 plays and then 10 plays, and both drives ran about 5 minutes off the clock. I mean, I posted a link to an article about this in one of my NFL reports. Yeah, the Patriots believe in ball control too. They just do it a little bit of a different way. Their run game wasn't very effective, not surprisingly, against the Seahawks, and so yeah.
Well, I think it was a smart game plan because it was their strength, and the Seahawks had 3/4 of their secondary had various injuries.
Yeah,
I
they were
mean,
very
Sherman
banged
had
up.
a torn ligament in his elbow. They still didn't throw the ball to him because, well, Brendan LaFell I think is a 3rd-round pick, and then you have a 7th-round pick, and then everybody else was undrafted free agent. I mean, the Patriots had 2 running backs active, and I don't think anybody but
Yeah,
Blount.
Jonas Gray was a healthy scratch. That was kind of
Blount
odd.
played, and Vereen, of course, who torpedoed my fantasy team, had a nice 11-catch game. He basically threw him the 3-yard pass all day, and it worked. So hey, and I know I made fun of Tom Brady his whole career because it seemed like he was really good at leading his team to the game-winning field goal. But hey, he did it twice in this playoffs. Led his team with a game-winning touchdown. So what can you say?
Is he the best to ever do it, Zach?
Well, everybody who just won clearly is the best ever. That's all. It always happens every single time a team wins a championship. They're the best ever. He's pretty good. I mean, Montana didn't lose any Super Bowls, and he never threw an interception in the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I just think Montana had to go through that crazy gauntlet of the NFC in the '80s. All Tom Brady's had to do is get through Peyton Manning. I mean, come on, that's easy in the playoffs. Oh, sorry, too soon. I mean,
It might be a little too soon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's coming back. That's the latest rumor. Prumer.
That is strange. Like, you change your entire coaching staff to teach Peyton for 1 year? I don't know. Which is what the Broncos did. Anyway, I'm drinking Anderson Valley Winter Solstice. Quite good. I'm drinking some hearty winter ales.
I
chopping some wood with this
am
stuff.
Drinking a local beer. This is a Barista's Brew, something like that, from Blackstone.
Okay, that's a good one. You get some of them breweries in them Nashvilles.
Nashville has a nice brewery game going.
So the NFL Network had a bit of a embarrassing situation when Warren Sapp
even more embarrassing than Darren Sharper, who they actually kept on their payroll for several months.
Yeah, when the NFL's super suspendy over a guy who might have had a sip of beer or breathed somebody's secondhand smoke. Hi, Josh Gordon. When Warren Sapp gets busted for apparently arguing with prostitutes about how he paid them, I don't know about the details, but I know that he got busted and they suspended him. Not sure if he got fired or
he got fired.
It's one of those. Well, we have to wait till all the news is in, but it sounds like no. I mean, damn,
fired.
That's what we get with the NFL. We get some off the field issues. There was a defensive lineman with the Packers today. I don't remember his name, but he got busted like with a bunch of cash and guns and drugs
Bunch
and
of
I mean,
Jaquel Jackson, Colts linebacker Jaquel Jackson punched a pizza guy. I mean, what is up?
and Joseph Randall, who got busted for stealing underwear last year, got some kind of drug. They said he was arrested, then later he said he got a ticket. It's like, well, I think the NFL doesn't really care. It's kind of the same. But, yeah, no one of the Titans got arrested as far as I can tell.
Not yet.
So, okay. We say we're going to get
Okay.
more about the NFL and less about Titans, but we got to talk about this, situation. So, is the Titans signing Dick LeBeau to be one of their coaches kind of like signing Peyton Manning to be your quarterback in 2018? Is it beyond this is going to help the team? I mean, he was the architect of some really good defenses for the Steelers.
Back in the day.
It was probably the worst matchup ever. Anytime he played Vince Young, it was like he had no chance against that defense. He could do nothing. He didn't even know how to call plays. He was so scared of that defense. But he retired, and I thought somebody would sign him. But it's another one. It's like bad in two ways. In that it's kind of like, oh, now we have two defensive coordinators, and I thought Ray Horton was supposed to be good.
Gee, we've
We
never
haven't done
done
that
that
before.
before. They've never done that before, have they?
But then again, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, Ray Horton is kind of good, right? That's what everybody thought. And why have two defensive coordinators? Basically, this is Ken Wisenhunt finding a job for an old friend. That's the bottom line.
Well, NFL teams seems like every year they add like 5 new coaches. Because last year the Cowboys.
Who was the token ad a few years ago that was like an assistant to Mike Munchak or something like that? Who was that dude?
Remember, I just know that the Cowboys basically hired a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator last year, but they kept the old guys.
Yeah,
So,
right.
I don't know. I was trying to think.
Is Dick LeBeau the new Monty Kiffin or something? Or he's not the new Rod Marinelli. I can promise you that.
Monty Kiffin, was a little bit done.
When was the last time the Steelers had a good defense, though? Dick LeBeau was under fire in Pittsburgh, had been under fire in Pittsburgh for many years. He retired because they wanted to move on.
Well, yeah, it's like this guy actually was in the Hall of Fame as a player, and I think he played in the 50s. So that makes him older than me. Finally someone's older than me. But, yeah, I think NFL coaches usually, it's pretty rare for them to be coaching in their 70s, and he's up there. But I think the Titans could say, we have perfected cloning technology, and we have cloned Vince Lombardi from 1965 to be our head coach, and we'd be like, oh, Titans, that's not going to work. Just based on their track record, So whatever they do.
For the excitement factor, I guess it, semi-works. The Titans and their fans are so desperate for exciting, great news that, 1,000-year-old Dick LeBeau is better than nothing, I suppose.
How do I chat?
We would have a Mr. Riddle here, maybe, although...
Mr. Dreamy has joined us. Oh, hello. We're getting to see all kinds of stuff.
You are so sweet. Can you call me back in 8 minutes? Oh, wait, hold on. You're seeing that. Hold on, that's my niece. Hello.
You can come back in if you need
Your niece
to.
is very cute. She looks like she's having fun eating.
Your niece is girl.
Let me call me back in like 5 minutes.
Who, you or me? Who are you talking to, Matt?
I don't know. Whoever, Sharona, you just called me, right?
If you're not ready, exit out and come back in when you're ready.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Join us when you're emotionally ready. It's perfectly fine.
It's perfectly fine. Go primp and get all pretty for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm pretty. I can't hang with you two, and I just need a minute to compose myself.
I want to see the tie. If there's no tie, I'm very disappointed.
You know what? If you really want, I can borrow one of my brother-in-laws if you really want.
Oh my gosh. You don't bring your own ties? Ah.
Well, I'm at my sister's, and I didn't plan ahead. Otherwise, I would have.
We have.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right, I'll call you
All
back.
right, Matt. See you in a few.
All right.
Hi.
That was Matt, by the way. Matt's going to be joining us,
Matt.
hopefully, ready and raring to go in a few minutes.
Yeah, Matt's going to let us know about #degenerate because I think 12 to 15 minutes after the NFL season has started, the MFL 10s, and we'll get into what those are shortly, begin. And people start drafting 2015 fantasy teams immediately. So that should be fun. And we'll have an exciting talk about team kickers and all that good stuff. So we have a slightly dysfunctional NFL franchise, it seems. We had Josh Gordon get busted, and then Johnny Manziel end up in rehab, and somehow that story got buried for a week. And now we hear that Jimmy Haslam is a dime store Jerry Jones. Is that the term that
Dented can.
I mean, Jerry Jones, he did play college football, but I would not call him a personnel genius, even though they have put together, last year the team was good. I think it's despite him, not because of his genius. Anyway, yeah, the Browns seem like kind of a mess. They did basically fire their entire coaching staff and front office last year, and then it seems like they're doing it again.
Then let a homeless guy make draft choices for them.
Yeah.
After paying
Johnny
a
Football.
consultant, what, $100,000, something like that?
Yeah, and the consultant said Teddy Bridgewater was the guy, and they still drafted Manziel. I'm the guy who got him on my.
Yeah, how about that? Wasn't who just recently, like as in Saturday night, got named the NFL's Pepsi Rookie of the Year?
Over Odell, I'm so surprised. Teddy.
No.
Teddy Football, right?
It was Teddy Football.
Yeah, we'll call him Teddy Football and Johnny.
Odell Beckham was Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie Player of the Year, something like that.
We got to give an award to a quarterback.
There are so many awards. There should be an award for best Google Hangout, and we should win.
Yeah, I mean, totes.
Totally.
Yeah, the
This
award,
beer wins.
Yeah, I have some good one. I also have the Sweetwater Festive Ale. See, my friend Don, for a Super Bowl party, for my birthday, bought me a bunch of beers. His heart was in the right place. I'm not quite sure if he got the best stuff. I got this Farmhouse beer, and it was pretty darn bitter, like most Seattle fans right now. There you go. I mean, what a turn. I mean, JJ Zacharyson, he has that site Number Fire, and during the game he was doing kind of like live stats, and I think when Seattle got the ball, the Patriots had like a 70% chance of winning, and then when they had the ball at the 1 yard line, Seattle had an 88% chance of winning, and in one play it changed to Patriots had a 99% chance of winning. That was how crazy the fluctuations were in that game. And I'm looking forward to this week's game. Wait a second, there's no football. Are you kidding me? Ugh. It's terrible.
So sad.
It really is. Speaking of, oh boy,
I know,
you're inviting trouble.
Post invite at your own risk. This should be fun. We'll see what he's doing. Matt clearly not up on the new technology and doesn't understand how.
Only once did I do a hangout where somebody was like on their phone. I usually just do them. I know you can do it on your phone, but I'm just like, I wouldn't trust it.
Call me back. He was like, call me back. I thought he was talking to the chick eating the food. I was like, what's going on?
Maybe.
I was so confused.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see how this goes. Actually, they had.
So, are you excited about the Dick LeBeau signing, Zach?
No, I don't think the Titans could do anything that would excite me at the moment. So we'll see.
Is there a draft pick? is there a draft pick out there that if they selected him with the second overall pick in the upcoming 2015 NFL draft that would excite you?
Well, I don't know if it was exciting, but I saw one mock draft that had them taking the defensive tackle out of USC #2 and then like an outside linebacker out of Clemson in the second round. I was like, they need all the defense, so bring on the defense. They kind of need all the offense too, but that would help. I'm almost thinking they're going to draft some defensive guy with #2, and then the second round they're going to draft the guy to UCLA, that Hundley guy. I feel like, I don't know, Mettenberger, I can't believe they're going to go roll into the season with him. But yeah.
So you think they're going to draft famous Jameis?
Why not? It seems like when people talk about him, they don't want to talk about the off the field stuff, and they're like, but he could be a good NFL quarterback, which trumps maybe not being a good human being. So we'll go with it. Yeah, I don't know. Plus, it seems like it's a long way. I mean, it is the first weekend of May when the draft happens. Seems like a long time away.
It's a long way away. We still have free agency to go through.
Yeah. Because the teams that spend a lot of money in free agency win the Super Bowl every year. Wait, Washington didn't win, did they?
Well, I mean, the Patriots dabble in free agent. They actually, some people feel like they're better in free agency than they are in the draft. They made a couple of key trades during the season that allowed them to fill some holes, and they were key players, key cogs in the road to the Super Bowl. And one of them was with the Tennessee Titans.
Well, the best move they made is they didn't re-sign LeGarrette Blount. The Steelers signed him, so they're going to get a draft pick for him. And then the Steelers cut him, and they picked him up for, whatever, veteran minimum.
Minutes.
And he was their starting running back because they didn't need a running back because they didn't really run the ball in the Super Bowl, which was okay. Yeah, I was looking, was it Will Leach of Sports on Earth had a list of NFL's most tortured fan bases. And the Titans are only like number 16 because they're so boring that they're not even boring, They're not even an exciting version of sucking. Like, they're not the total dumpster fire that the Raiders are, apparently. But I think we're getting there. Couple years.
Who was the number one? Had to be the Browns, right?
Yeah, the Browns were number 1. Washington was pretty high for a team that's actually won 3 Super Bowls, and they've been to 5 Super Bowls. Yeah, they're number 6 on the list. So there you go.
So the Browns, the Raiders, Washington.
The Bills were number 2.
Who?
The Bills were number 2.
Yeah, man. I mean, they had their coach. They had a coach quit on them, and they almost made the playoffs. Funny. That was funny. Their quarterback and their coach quit.
But I think the line was, if you think Kyle Orton's the guy to save your franchise, I mean, even if E.J. Manuel isn't a good quarterback, giving a career backup veteran guy the reins, when you know he's not going to be the guy long term, they probably didn't think he was going to quit. But you know what Kyle Orton does? He quits. He's done it a few times. He basically retired from the Cowboys last year after getting a bonus, and then he got paid by the Bills. So he made like $8 million last year. Kyle Orton, and he could afford a razor now, so that's good.
Yeah, they call him Nick Beard, right? Isn't that his nickname?
Yeah, Nick Beard. I mean, the last time they were in the playoffs, they lost to the Titans. Oh.
Russell Wilson grew quite the Super Bowl playoff beard. I mean, he's beard. Let his hair grow out.
I am interested to see what kind of contract Seattle offers him this offseason. Because they've had to figure out, they had a bunch of really good young players, and now they got to start paying them. And they have been paying them. I mean,
they just extended. They've got. Well, Byron Maxwell is a free agent, as I recall. Be interesting to see what happens with him.
So what do you think? Are we
I
frustrated?
think Kitty Cat is adorable. Cute and
Yeah,
adorable.
horrible breath, I'll tell you. It's just absolutely putrid. Dude needs some breath mints right now.
Well, brush the kitty cat's teeth.
Yeah, he'd love that. Be all about that. Yeah, the number 3 was the Lions, which, makes sense because they always suck. They were in the playoffs this year with the Jim Caldwell face. And they had the Vikings number 4, and the best part about it is they showed, and this has been commonplace now, but I think this might have been when it started. They showed the Brett Favre interception in the championship game against the Saints, and then they showed the fan reaction, which was probably the best part of Monday, was the fan reaction. Now, see, we see a pre-picture of Mr. Rittle, but then when we see the real Rittle, he's quite a fuzzy guy. Oh, he's got a tie! Nice!
Oh, look! It's quite the dreamy tie, too.
I threw this on real quick.
Is Matt saying anything? Oh, hi, Matt.
I'm on, but I'm still buffering here apparently. Hello.
A
Hello.
little bit. Matt Rittle is the man. Let's do a little introduction. Actually, Matt was interview number 68 on my interview series such a long time ago, but he's grown so much in all this time. He's a daily fantasy master. He writes for so many sites that it would take probably 2 hours for me to complete it. And he is the go-to guru when you want to talk about the MFL 10s. And I am excited to have him on our show tonight and actually see him rocking the Amish look tonight. So how you doing, Mr. Riddle?
Yeah.
I'm excellent. How are you?
Good, good. So you're actually on the road doing this?
I'm at my sister. She's not that far. I come here a couple times a month and kind of hang out with niece and nephew and run some errands in the suburbs and before I get back to the farmland where I live.
So you live just outside of, is it Chicago? Is that where you are?
First of all, am I coming through okay to you guys here?
I can hear you perfectly. I just can't see you.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I think I'm having some web issues is all as everything tries to catch up with everything. We'll see if we can stay connected while my computer figures this out. I live 100 miles west of Chicago.
Oh, and we think
So
nope.
You might actually have the horse-drawn carriage going on then, huh? I see his face, but yeah, you may have lost him. Oh, and the cat's back. I tell you, everything's crazy.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Matt.
It's like I see his face. I'm haunted by his face. Well, yeah,
While we're waiting for Matt to get back in here, Zach, why don't you explain to everybody what MLFs and whatnot are? And we're not talking about MILFs, by the way.
Yes, we'll save that for another. Beyond going for 2, that's a different show. Not safe for kids. MFL 10s. So what that is, it's my fantasy league. They're one of the top hosting services for fantasy leagues. My dynasty league is through them. So what MFL 10 is a 12-team league. It's draft only. They have 10, 25, 100. You basically 12 owners. Everybody pays $10, and the winner at the end of the year gets $100. And you basically draft your team, and then you're done, and you basically watch the results every week, and it runs for
So
the
no free agency, no trades, no nothing?
It's just a 16-week season, and basically you get best ball, so whoever scores the highest for you wins. And at the end of the year, whoever finishes number 1 gets $100. I've heard who comes in second gets a free MFL 10 the next year, although I finished in second in the one that I did last year, and haven't seen anything yet. But anyway, that's kind of how they work, although, let's see. He's back, maybe.
He's back.
Call me maybe, Matt.
Oh, hold on.
No, you're perfect.
Okay.
We see you. We hear you.
There we go. I apologize for backing out before, but I can't be on with two sexy people as yourself and not be able to see you as we talk.
We
That's
lost you
important.
again. Now I can't see you again.
I know, I'm having the same issue. We can hear each other, though. I'm not sure what's
That's
going on
perfect.
here.
Well,
So,
we'll go with
Zach, I think sometimes about our first interview, you said I was number 68. I had written, if I remember correctly, 3 fantasy football articles at that point.
And now you do like 3 a
Zach
day.
has an eye for talent, Matt.
Yeah, I
It is
feel
just
like
funny how far we've come since then. I have it all to owe to you, Zach.
sometimes I have to apologize. I'm sorry, everybody, for CD Carter. I'm sorry for Matt Rittle. You know, I'm unleashed the monsters. They didn't know what they had. They didn't know their talent, and now the world is, I think, a better place. Anyway.
Agent to the stars.
So how
Yeah.
many MFL 10s have you started now? We kind of explained what they were when you were off.
Wonderful.
So have they started when exactly? How many minutes after the Super Bowl does the first MFL 10 begin for 2015?
Yeah, so my fantasy league is still kind of perfecting their system, and they installed a new back end kind of in the middle of last offseason that they're still tinkering and playing with. So the stated goal was to start them at noon the day after the Super Bowl, though in discussion they even admitted beforehand, well, they'll start when they start, type of thing. And they had them up by mid-afternoon. They had them up and ready to go. I just signed up for one. I'm still...
Oh no!
Oh no!
And there was a
We
crash.
lost Matt. In lieu of Matt, we're going to show you
Oh, the
adorable
puppy.
puppy. Puppy is very kissy.
Well, I saw Sigmund Bloom of Football Guys. He was posting one that he was in, so they've gotten rolling. I mean, the only problem is I have my little walk by.
I see. I saw. Yes, we saw the walkthrough.
I made a joke that, oh, and here we go, he's back. Maybe. Is he back? How's that dial-up? How's that AOL?
Hey, by the way, Matt, you can post this on MySpace if you're so inclined.
Oh my gosh, come on now. All right, I don't know what's going on. It seems to have figured out whatever the problem is now. I
Well, we
apologize.
see you and hear you, so we look like we're good to go.
Okay, now I'd like to be clear to people watching this later. Technical issues aside, my apologies. Now that we're good to go, if I stumble or it's just, Sharona is so beautiful, Zach is a sexy beast, and so pardon me if I stumble over my own words. It's only because of the eye candy by 2 people in front of me here.
Yes, this is the sex appeal show.
Right.
We hear that constantly.
Yeah, I understand.
We're just blessed to have such a dreamy guy joining us.
I know.
Usually it's Zach, me, and Pets.
It's so nice of your brother to let you borrow a tie and a thong, so it was really good.
Well, the thong this is the second thong I borrowed from him, but the first tie, so we're in new territory. What beer do you have there?
I have a Sweetwater Festive Ale. This is out of Atlanta, so there you go.
I don't think I get Sweetwater my way.
I have a Barrister's Brew.
What do you have?
She's drinking a beer.
A Barrister Brew it's a local brewery called Blackstone.
I've heard of Blackstone. I don't think I've had it.
Very good. Nashville has great brewery game.
I have some Sucks. For those familiar with Sucks, it needs no more introduction. It's a Laguna brew if you're not familiar.
Oh, yeah. So drinking a Cali beer?
Going back to Cali.
Not drinking a Goose Island now that they sold out?
Well, you can't drink any more Elgians, or however you say that, so...
Well, I was in Wrigleyville 3 years ago for St. Patrick's Day. I got to meet up with who was there? I got Dexter's Library was there. I met up with fake football guy who moved to Austin.
Wait, wasn't this the get together you told me about that you missed him? Or
no, I was there. It was Chicago, and what's her name, Andrea, who's with Bleacher
Andre Hanks
Report.
was there.
She met later, and yeah, we had about 4 or 5 people there, which was kind of cool. We basically watched the kind of opening day. We watched Missouri lose to Norfolk State, which was fun because Missouri losing in the first round of the NCAA tournament. It's a tradition like none other. Don't expect them to be there this year, by the way. They really suck, but that's okay. We're a football school, so. But anyway, we were totally digressing. We were off the tracks. So you said you've only started one MFL 10. Is that correct?
I just started one. I don't know why I'm hesitating to say this. I don't really have a good mental sense of the 2015 fantasy football season yet, so I don't just want to be, burning money on fire. So I'll probably join several more, but I think initially I'll just have one going at a time. Also, the other thing, when I have 3 or 4 going, I'm just kind of more making a pick. If I just have 1 or 2 going, I have 1 going right now. When it's my turn to pick, I'll actually review the draft history. So every time it's my turn to pick, I spend 10, 20 minutes looking at each pick, going, okay, why did they do that? Do I like that? Do I not like that? What do I think about that? Would I make that pick? And so this is part of the kind of analysis, evaluation process early on. When this one hits around 15 or so, I'll probably load up another one. So I'll just do one at a time for the next couple weeks, and maybe I'll load up after that. Last year, I played 20 MFL 10s before the draft started. And one of the coolest, in my opinion, one of the coolest articles I've written was basically I played 20 MFL 10s before the NFL draft, and here's what I found. And so I wouldn't mind repeating that experiment this year just for data's sake.
Yeah, I recall reading that article, and you were very excited about getting Bishop Sankey in a lot of leagues. So.
Okay, no, this is the point though. I got Bishop Sankey at that point in like the 20th round. He's not so bad if you're getting him in the 20th round. If you took him in the 5th round, as many people did later in the summer, that was a problem for you.
Yeah, how do you kind of navigate the rookies when they haven't even been drafted by a team?
So this is my lesson based off the 20 I played before the draft last year. And I'm going to do some more study, but just from a bird's eye view, the short version is I think it's safe before the draft to avoid rookie running backs almost entirely and to take a couple flyers on some late round receivers. Not necessarily the overly hyped ones, but last year's Moncriefs and Jordan Matthews, Kelvin Benjamins, all those guys were last-round picks this time of year last year. And those could have just as easily been people who did nothing, but a last-round pick, you're not wasting much. Right now, a lot of the rookie running backs, we don't really know what order they'll get drafted in. We don't really know what team they'll go to. Running backs, situation matters a ton. Receivers, it's more of a talent thing. A lot of times, if they have a talent, they'll float to the surface. So my experience last offseason was that a lot of running backs lost in ADP from before the draft to after the draft, so you're better off waiting till after you know their situation. You can cherry pick which team. Also, rookie running backs historically tend to be undervalued in most drafts ever. Pretty much any conversation early in the summer about, well, what high upside running back picks can we take late in the draft, half that list are rookies typically. It was last year, it was a couple of years ago, and so you can kind of wait on that. What I want to do is kind of avoid the rookie running backs in the first 4 rounds. I also want to avoid the potential free agent running backs, but I'll take a couple flyers on rookie receivers very late. And for that, I'll look to some of the tape grinders, I'll look at some of the metric people, and cherry pick the 2, 3, 4 favorites that people have, and just take some flyers and see what happens. But if you miss out on a last-round pick, that's not a big loss. So that's my plan for rookies this year.
Well, do you think people are going to overdraft rookie receivers in general just because basically any rookie receiver you took last year, you won?
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is the trap in fantasy is always to kind of chase your tail, to do what worked last year, rather than to think strategically and be a step ahead. And so it's one thing if you're pulling 10 years of data and drawing conclusions, but if you're just kind of most people anecdotally and they go off their short-term memory and what they remember and feel without really looking at data. In which case we're going to go, well, I don't know, those rookie receivers were great last year. I should take me some of them this year. One of the cool things about when I drafted 70 MFL 10s last year, not to mention the 5 or 10 draft onlys I did that weren't MFL 10s, not to mention any other drafts I did. So when you draft this many times, one of the cool things is you almost detach from the emotion of a draft rather than like, I need my guy. You just kind of, it's almost, I don't know, like seeing a play for the 20th time as opposed to the second time. Or a movie, perhaps. The second time you're very emotionally invested. By the 20th time you're sitting back and going, well, that actor missed his cue. Or, it becomes more observational, mathematical. So one thing I understand is if, say, rookie receivers are going too early because people are jumping on this trend, someone is falling. Mathematically, if someone is going early or someone is falling, who is that? And that's when I play, I know I'm going to play 40 to 100, I don't know how many at MFL 10s. That's always my goal, is to take the person who's falling, and then, this ebb and flow of ADP, I always want to take the guy at their lowest value rather than their highest value.
So how'd you do in the 70 MFLs you ended up in?
Not quite as well as I wanted. Now, 2 years ago, I played 40 and I won 6. And the funny thing is that doesn't sound great at first blush. You played 40, you won 6, right? But that's a 50% ROI, which any money market manager will tell you, any money investor, even if you're a poker player or whatever your gambling background, 50% ROI is not bad. My style of playing MFL 10s, I'm not trying to have a 200% ROI. I feel like if I can have a 40 to 100% ROI every year, I'm ecstatic. There's not many things that you can do that with, and my general campaign is I'm proving that these are not just luck. You can make money at this consistently using strategies and techniques that I'm trying to help teach others, so other people can do what I'm doing too. So 2 years ago, I had a 50% ROI. This last year, based off first places only, I had closer to a 40% ROI. So what did I win? I won, I'm blanking. I want to say 10, if I recall. I want to say I won 10. It was 9 or 10. I also played one quote-unquote MFL 10 on a different upstart site, and I won that one, but I'm not counting it, so that would push me over the edge. If we assign a nominal value to second places, so it costs $10 to join one, second place is a free entry to, it's basically $10. But if we say that's worth $7 or $8 or something like that, and we include my seconds, I had a 50% ROI this last year too. So I'm kind of maintaining that steady course.
Do you ever play the higher dollar ones, 25s and the 100s, or are you stuck at the 10s?
Personally, I stick at the 10s. I always suggest to people to view it as a volume game and then play whatever your budget says you should play. So if the choice is play 150 or 5 10s, I always suggest to play 5 10s. If you say I have $50, what should I do? Join as many as possible is my attitude. If you have perhaps a healthier budget than I have, and you're saying I'm going to join 5 leagues, you're approaching it from that point of view. Which dollar amount most interests me? Go ahead and join 550s if that's your thing. But personally, I'd rather get 70 10s in than half as many 25s. So that's just me.
Yeah, I was just curious if the stats would be different.
Yeah, I
think
think
people
it's
play a higher dollar may not. They may just be like, I don't care, I'm burning money. So it's interesting to see.
On average, the drafts are. It's the same thing I always found in poker when you make a small jump up to the next stake, is that the average skill is higher, but there's still so much value and still plenty of quote-unquote fish. So, I heard a lot of anecdotes from the 50s and the 100s last year, and it was not 12 sharks. So, I think there's value and profit to be had everywhere.
I'm sorry, you guys. I don't mean to be laughing, but my dog is being a big clown in the background. I'm doing this at the kitchen table for a variety of reasons, and she is sitting in a dining room chair trying to get over here to me. I'm going to have to take a picture and post it. Anyway.
Please.
So when did you start? Because it seems like the last 2 years you've been doing this strong. I don't even know when MFL 10 started and if you've been doing this for however many years.
I am literally, this has become a nice niche for me in the industry. I literally was in some of the first MFL 10s they did. 3 years ago or 4 years ago, they started public leagues. I think 3 years ago they started public leagues for the first time. It might be 4 years ago, but those were in-season management leagues. So you had to manage them during the season. There was a waiver wire you could work. There were no trades. That was their thing. There's no trades. You still have to submit a lineup, and you can work the waiver wire. So 3 years ago, they offered that. 2 years ago is when they first offered the draft-only best ball format, and I randomly stumbled onto this very early, and I used to play a ton of poker. There was, a year or more of my life when I worked full-time, and I would come home and I would play poker 20 hours a week on top of working full-time, and I was always kind of one step away from making it a more of a full-time type of thing, and it's never worked out for me. So it only took me about 2 or 3 MFL 10s for that kind of poker part of my brain to kick in and go, wait a minute, if you play enough of these, you can make money. And so I actually I wrote one of the earlier MFL 10 pieces on the now defunct Late Round QB site. In fact, if you Google Late Round QB poker math MFL 10 or something to that effect, you can still find that article. It's still posted there, where it basically says if you play enough of these, you can profit. And maybe there's some luck. If you play 40, as I did that year, you might, winning 7 as opposed to 5, maybe there's a little bit of luck in that. But in the long run, if you make good decisions, you will profit. And now I have 2 years of track record where I've played, 110-ish MFL 10s over the last 2 years. And out of that, I have about a 50% or higher ROI. So at least I'm on the way to proving personally that is skill and not just luck.
So when are you going to start doing like the late round the infomercials about this? You too can make money playing fantasy football.
Let me give both of you guys a little pro tip.
I'm ready.
Commercials are great. They're wonderful tools. DraftKings, not so much. Bad look, bad commercials, bad for business, complete turnoff for women. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I have to say the daily fantasy, their commercials, I don't know what's going on. It's like you really can't get the actual people who won money. I mean, are they really going to ask for big fees to show up? They did the puppets thing, and it wasn't so good.
Well, they could make it a condition of playing. Just like some of the radio shows do. If you win this contest, then, we own your voice, essentially. Radio shows used to do that. They could do that.
Well, it's still growing. I mean, you're pretty big on the DFS as well, or not so much?
Yeah, well, football DFS. I spent last offseason teaching myself the different DFS sports. I really got into hockey and NBA. My mind has been elsewhere the last month, so I was focusing on football, and my mind has been on normal life stuff, so I haven't gotten back into those this year. But football DFS was a very nice season for me. That was a really I enjoyed some of the articles I did, and I had a very successful personal DFS campaign in football this season.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Do you think it's going to be harder for MFL 10s and for DFS just because more people are going to be involved, or you think more people involved equals more people who are just like weekend warrior types?
I think more is always better. There's probably a degenerate. I have an addictive personality, so I'm chuckling because the more is always better is like a life stance too. Like I'll take more of that. Why have one?
I totally believe that's your mantra, Matt. I totally believe that.
We know you so well. And
Yes, we do.
Like matching shirts. It's amazing. You two, and even the curtains are matching. I mean, how do you do that? That's pretty good. He's got an eye.
Mm.
Yeah, I think more is better with DFS. And the more people that play, especially in football, most people that play football have intelligent, rational thought. But I mean, if you're a talented DFS football player, you will still profit far more weeks than not. Now, maybe some of those weeks you'll barely break even or make $10 or something, but the amount of weeks. So I played played most weeks. I might have taken, so I probably played 15 weeks pretty full time or something, and the amount of weeks that I actually lost more than 5% of the bankroll I put in was maybe 1, maybe 2. I don't have the data in front of me, but it was very low. I was probably a little lucky, but also to say that I think that, the people who are really good at a sport are going to profit generally over the long run and hopefully consistently. So more is better. In terms of NFL 10s, more is definitely better. What happened 2 years ago, I did a lot of drafts with friends. And so, like Mark Hava is a guy I did a lot of drafts with 2 years ago. He's kind of my MFL 10 partner in crime. And so 2 years ago, I would literally DM him on Twitter and say, hey, I just joined 4. If you want to take a couple days off joining some, because I just joined a bunch. But that year they only got about 400 of the draft-only leagues in. Last year they got over 1,000 of the draft-only leagues in. So there were significantly less familiar faces that I saw in every draft.
So you mean there actually were some that you weren't in? You sure about that?
There were over 1,000, and I played 70. The guy, in fact, it's about 2/3 written. I have an interview with a guy who played 200 last year.
Someone did. It's like, wow, someone did more than you.
Yeah, I really
200.
There's a part of me that wants to say, or be able to say, in the last 2 years I have played more NFL 10s than anyone. Like, I feel like that would be like a nice little thing to hang my hat on, However, my buddy Mark Hava, he's played about 6 more than me in the last 2 years. And then, so I'm like, well, maybe I'm 3rd or 2nd, or And then I heard about this guy's name's Aaron H. That's what his screen name I have is. I won't give away more than that because that's what he puts on the site. But he's played 300 in the last 2 years, so wow. I can't compete with that.
It's a lot.
You could even do like the niche of a niche of a niche. You're talking about fantasy football and just MFL 10s. You're like the guru, so you could get all the cool people in. So you still working for 4for4 doing the customer service?
I do, and I was also a scout for them this last year. So we're ramping up the customer service. This last season was the 2nd season that it's me and Russ, my partner, that the 2 of us did it. And so this was our 2nd year. This next year is our 3rd year. And so we kind of get more responsibility and get better at our job every year, give better service, but are able to do more and offer cooler inside stuff, better outside stuff. I also started writing for 4for4 this last year as a scout. I did just the Patriots kind of player blurbs. And then we'll see if I get to do more than that this year or not. But, so 4for4 is one of my favorite sites to be involved with. I just really appreciate their kindness to people, their humbleness about their work. They're not out there throwing things in everyone's faces. They're just quietly doing a good job year in and year out. And it's insane how consistent John Paulson is at ranking and how high quality the site consistently is every year.
Yeah, Sharona, that's one of the reasons why I do fantasy football interviews, so I can get free subscriptions to sites, because Matt hooked me up. I think one week I just made some random comment about how I wasn't prepared, and
I remember that. I don't remember
and John was like, "Give him a free subscription." I'm like, "Great, cool."
And I was like that, and it was like I remember that week, and it was like a horrible decision. I was like, "How did you start blank play? How did you do that?" And so that's when I was like, well, you clearly aren't checking any decent rankings, Zach. Let me hook you up with a subscription here. You can't have this.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And hey, I won my local league, and anytime anybody wanted to ask about start sit, I'd be like, oh, I have rankings somewhere else, because I don't know. Rankings, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if you've done that, but ranking players every week, I think would make me want to just like break my beer bottle and stab myself, because it just seems very frustrating and difficult.
DFS and rankings are very different. In DFS, I only have to be right about the players I start. You know what I'm saying? If there's a player I'm not sure about, I can just overlook him. Or if there's a player who I think might be good but I'm not really sure, I can just not play that guy. I only have to find, the 5-9 people that, or however many lineups I said, but I just start the people I feel good about, when you're ranking, you have to decide, is this crappy guy or this crappy guy going to be better? Like, you really have to make it each. You have to be right about everything, and that's very difficult.
Well, that is true. Do you think that someone will be able to find a way to kind of combine like a redraft league with like a DFS, like a redraft league where each person gets to start like their own lineup every week and not have to do a draft or an auction?
So this has already started. They're amongst passionate enthusiasts, whatever small niche of people that is, there is already a great interest in this. The problem is there's no great way to do it yet. So I was actually a part of a writers' league last year on draft day. When the season started, draft day had come the farthest of, at the time, the three main sites of helping leagues. And so they had a league set up where you could create a league, and we had 12 of us, and it included Josh Moore, myself, Ryan Forbes, John Beckler ran it. We had Renee Miller. We had I'm gonna blank on everyone else. I'm just naming a few names to point out that there's some decent writers in there, and we started a lineup every week based off the same rules, and then so the site helped with that aspect of it. But then John Beckler had to separately keep an online spreadsheet and keep track of everyone's points every week, and then you can write formulas, but he had to do that by hand every week. So and then about halfway through the season, DraftKings made it a little bit easier. I'm never on FanDuel, I can't speak for there. DraftKings made it a little bit easier to have a league, but even then you kind of have to know how to hack into it and jump through a couple hoops. Ideally, at some point, a site will just say, here's a seasonal DFS format, where they'll do all that manually for people. I believe they probably have the technology to do that now. They probably have the programmers to do it now. Like a site like DraftKings could probably program that in a day, but they just have to decide that there's enough interest and money in it to make it worth their while. And I don't think we're there yet. But I know, like I can name a dozen or 2 dozen friends who would love it, but that's not enough motivation. A site wants thousands or tens of thousands to want to do it probably before they would open it up. So we'll see. I believe it's on the future. Probably won't be this coming year, but maybe in the next 5 years we'll get something that would be great to me.
It's kind of another niche of a niche. I know.
Yeah.
Was it the Street Free? Somebody had a league where it was like you did a whole draft every week, and as fun as the draft is, it would be hard to do that on a weekly basis.
It would.
Because you'd have to start like the minute the games ended, and to get it all done in time would be tough unless you did a really.
But just standard fantasy football is very time intensive, and for most people that they just want to play and have fun. It's not for the hardcore like Matt or some others.
Yeah, we talk about fantasy football numbers and how they go up every year. But I always wonder if we could break that down, the growing numbers. Most of those people have that one work league or that one home league, and they're playing in the ESPN standard format, with only 2 wide receivers still. We can debate whether PPR or no PPR is better, but they're not even having that debate. They're just playing whatever standard, whatever site gives them. They're not even deciding, But that's
Publicly,
fun. It's beautiful. They're going to work, they're talking trash, but they're not diving in as deep as some of us addicts or degenerates might be.
No one's deeper than that. Nobody. So yeah, are you gonna continue to talk about your MFL joys for is it Rotoviz this season?
Yeah, we will get some MFL 10 work up on Rotoviz. I have one piece 2/3 written, a couple in the back of my mind already. I just haven't, like I said, my mind has been elsewhere in life, and so I haven't found the motivation to finish things up and finish editing and writing yet. I'm also I'll be generic for now, but I should and hope to have some solid MFL 10 work on a few different sites this summer, and I'm pretty excited about it. I feel like I'm still making a name for myself in DFS circles, but currently in the off season, I'd like to lean on my strength, which is the MFL 10 work, and I feel like I'm a little ahead of the curve in terms of knowledge here, so I'd like to keep leaning into that.
So you said you won pretty good out of your 70. How did you do out of the 20 that you did, the 20 pre-draft league?
I won 0 out of those first 20.
It is a relatively small sample.
Yeah, it's a small sample, and that's one of the reasons why people sometimes say, because I will talk, and some of the other people who played 50 and 60 will talk about I won blank percentage, but then sometimes I'll hear that back to me and they say, oh, I won 0%, I didn't win any. I'll say, how many did you play? And they'll say like 6. Well, that's so back when I used to play poker, there was a $4 180-person tournament that I was very good at. I made a lot of money playing this 180-person tournament, and I averaged winning about 1 in 20. I would take first place about 1 in 20 times, and I was in the money even more often than that. But I would take first place about 1 in 20 times, and it wasn't uncommon to sometimes play 50 or even 80 or more and never win. And then maybe you would load up 5 and win 3 of them. And this is just, if you understand mathematics and statistics, this is common and natural. So you could be an amazing MFL 10 player, play 10 and win 0. That's, you have to run the volume and let the math run itself out.
The goal is to break even, you have to win 10%. So if you're winning 40%, you're doing fine. If you're win 20%, you're doubling your money. So yeah, that's good. And you need that volume so you can kind of spread out your players and do well. I was just looking for MFL kind of comparison. Like I did a Dynasty startup mock, which was like in June of last year, so it was after the draft. I ended up with a team with Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson, just the rookie wide receivers you could get early last summer. You could get them amazingly early. And then doing a Dynasty mock that Ryan McDowell does with DLF. Like 10 of those rookie receivers are gone by the 3rd round now. So their value is kind of in the dumper. But so do you ever grab quarterbacks early, or are you still a wait on a quarterback kind of guy?
I am king of waiting on quarterbacks. So it's easy, perhaps in hindsight, to say I had a ton of Russell Wilson last year, and maybe that sounds cool in hindsight, but I can show you that I did. But even that aside, because you can say, oh, well, every year there's some late-round guy that is amazing. It was Matthew Stafford in his breakout year. It was Cam Newton that year. There's one or Michael Vick. There's always 1 or 2 or 3 guys who go from a really late round to a top 5 option, and that was Russell Wilson this last year. Even him aside, Ben Roethlisberger annually is drafted as a quarterback 2 and almost annually finishes as a quarterback 1. And you just know this. Even guys like Alex Smith, or who maybe aren't amazing, that maybe you don't want to play them or own them in a seasonal league, but in a system that optimizes their decent weeks and they give you a floor, they're not that bad if you couple them with a few other guys. So especially in a best ball format where you don't have to predict the good weeks, I'm a huge advocate of late round QB. I did some math. Even if you mix in my early round drafts, I think my average quarterback draft pick was like the 9th round first pick from all my drafts last year. I will say early on, when you have a lot of quote unquote expert drafters, whether or not they're expert drafters, but they're just really I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they're really into this niche, this obsession. A lot of these people tend to like late-round quarterbacks, and now even more stuff has been written and published about best ball and late-round quarterbacks. So if I'm in a situation, say this month, and I'm starting to see Aaron Rodgers fall to the late 5th or early 6th round, I'm actually going to take him. And so I'll probably spend a lot of time in the next 2 months taking early-round quarterbacks, but I'll take them 2 rounds later, then I'll be able to get them come August. So I feel like that's okay. Late round quarterback is a winning strategy in best ball for sure, and even in seasonal leagues, but I'm always aware of value. If it comes down to, should I take this free agent running back, this crappy receiver, or Aaron Rodgers, you don't want to get too cute. Don't overthink it. If it's the 6th round, go ahead and take Aaron Rodgers. That's just fine.
Yeah, I did. I will say now that the stats can't say very much, but I did one MFL 10 last year, and of course Matt was in the league, and I did finish ahead of him. But sadly, the last week of the year I lost my lead, and I ended up finishing in second. And I haven't received any kind of thing from MFL about getting a free league, so maybe I need
The
to contact
seconds
you.
will be issued later this month.
Ah, see, you're like MFL customer service. I like that. So even
Well, I have the same questions, and people ask me, and so I try to
oh
stay on
yeah,
top of stuff. So
right.
we're saying mid-month is the hope that they'll have the free leagues issued out.
All
Well,
right, now Matt, I have never played daily fantasy. I've definitely not ever played MFL. So I am your potential target audience. Sell me on it. Now, I will say this. I've been a fantasy football player since 2006, and I just won my Dynasty League this year. I am the champion, and
Champion.
just spent my money.
So here's my sales pitch for DFS, and it's really simple and short, and so I'll say this one first. My sales pitch for DFS is just try it. That's it. I suggest that whatever amount of money, and this is different for everyone, whatever amount of money you can go out to the bar tonight, spend on your bar tab, and not think again about that amount of money. You're not going to wake up the next morning and say, what was my tab? Just whatever amount of money that is for you, make that amount your first deposit and just play.
Okay.
And my experience, some people just don't like it, but I have seen so many times people go, like in the case of football, people go from, I don't know about this thing, and everyone's talking, and I don't know. They play it one weekend, and then on Monday or Tuesday, they're messaging me, I am so hooked. I have to do this again. Like, it just takes one weekend. It's almost,
Okay.
I don't mean to be like the cocaine, first one's for free, and then but it's almost like that. So that's just my DFS thing. Just try it.
All right.
If you don't like it, don't play it anymore.
And a lot of fantasy sites, DFS, do offer kind of free rolls where you can play for free, and they have $1, so you just try it out for $1 and see what happens. Because they have the 50-50s and the kind of the one-on-ones and that type of things, and then the giant tournaments, but those seem to be a lot harder to win because you have to.
And I always just suggest, your first weekend play 2 50-50s. That, you know what I'm saying? Just take it easy, see what it's about.
Because basically, you can do a one-on-one where you challenge one person and you have to outscore them, or you do a 50-50 where you just have to. You're in a pool of like 100 people and you have to finish in the top 50 to win your money. So that's how it works. And then you get to watch another league all day, just like you do in your fantasy league, where even though you have no power at all, you got to watch every 5 seconds to see if your guy scored a touchdown. That's how it is. It's part of the fun. Because that's the thing at the MFL 10s. Like, I kind of like the best ball because you always think that if you have a 50-50 chance of starting the right guy, you always pick the wrong one. But in the best ball, it's just whoever scores the highest. And I actually went anti-late round quarterback. I drafted quarterback in the 6th round and the 8th round in the one league I was in, and I ended up coming in second. Dang it all. Could have used that $100, but whatever. But I did make a deal with Matt Rittle because we were in that Titanium League.
Titanium.
He beat my you-know-what in the finals, but luckily we made it. Luckily we made a deal, so I got a few bucks there at the
Yeah. My MFL sales pitch, so my DFS sales pitch is just try it. There's no commitment. If you hate it, never touch it again. My MFL sales pitch is essentially similar to try it, but I start the off season now thinking I will play, like I said, 40 to 100 of these, and that's a different mindset than if I'm only playing one. That's what I do, but that's just me. My suggestion to people who haven't played any is just play one. Think of it as a mock draft. Everyone, before they draft their home league or their work league or whatever league they care about, you always mock draft. The problem is, for sake of professionalism, most people mock draft on quote-unquote sites, and you have people dropping out, you have auto pickers, you have always that one guy, usually me, taking a kicker in the first round and 3 straight quarterbacks just kind of goofing around or taking all homer picks wherever they live. And that's not really that's not helpful if you're trying to learn. You can treat MFL 10s as a mock draft. Most people do not really draft that differently in MFL 10s than they would in a normal league. But even though you could say it's just $10, the fact that people have money invested, they care. They are actually making picks, caring about the team they construct. So play 1, play 2 or 3, and treat it just like a mock draft. If you love them, play more. But a lot of people, I always suggest just play 2, 3, play 5, whatever. Just play a couple and treat it like a mock draft, and I think it's more helpful than most of the mock drafts people are doing. And maybe you like it and do more.
Awesome. I'm sold.
I think one advantage to these leagues is you see how the guys move up and down as the time passes too, so you get a feel of who's running up and running down. So you see where players are valued, not necessarily where they're going to end up, because we can have the best information in the world, and then a player blows out his ACL and you're screwed. So tell me, Mr. Rittle, what is the deal with you and all your freaking ties? What's going on with that?
Oh, short version, at some point in my life, I figured if I'm going to wear ties, I'll have some fun with it. So I've just slowly tied a bunch of different ties, slowly figured all...
I'm looking at your knot. Does it have a name? This
is a Trinity knot.
I like it.
I tied it real quick. I think it turned out okay, but usually I would tie it a little slower and mold it a little bit better. But
I like it, Matt. I do.
Maybe you should start like a YouTube channel, how you tie your ties. I'm telling you, that could be something. I
hear that a lot. My only problem with that is all I would be doing is regurgitating most of the work that the one that I mostly follow has already done. And until I have my own kick to it, my own, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I would just be copying, and so I don't want to just copy. So for now, I'm always referring people back to the main guy I follow. But it's fun. I like it, and it's become a thing. Now if I show up, like I had a sweater on earlier when I hopped on for just a second, and Zach, where's the tie? And this is what happens to me when I go to anywhere, conferences or where's your tie? And so it's kind of a thing where I keep doing it because it becomes something you're known by, and it's fun, and also it looks good. Like if you just look at it, like it's a nice full knot. It's symmetrical.
It really is. You are the king of dreamy.
Oh, thank you. Also, I'm going to say this to you gentlemen watching: if you gentlemen knew the attention the special tie knots got from the ladies,
yeah.
Too.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
We pay attention.
So what kind of tie goes with my White Sox World Series champion shirt? Oh, sorry, Cubs fan.
That's a low blow.
It was 10 years ago, and you know what? The best thing about the White Sox winning the World Series in 2005 is that I have not had to pay attention to baseball for 10 years, and I've been okay with it. But I know you're a Cubs guy, so.
Here's the look at my
Snoopy.
Oh, look at that. Love it. That's so adorable, just like your face. Zach, the look on my face is not that I'm not sore the Sox won. I'm happy a Chicago team won. I'm happy for my Sox fans friends that won. The look on my face is knowing that you intentionally put that shirt on just for this podcast.
He did. He's been so excited.
This is my version of the Trinity now. I got your Trinity right here. Yeah, what you got,
I would stop wearing cool knots for the Cubs to win a World Series.
I have to admit, every time you guys say Trinity, I automatically think...
The Matrix?
Yes.
Oh, you think The Matrix? Most people go the other way.
Yes. The other way.
Trinity
only two ways.
Rolled. Trinity was badass and awesome.
He was badass and awesome. All right, here's something else I want to point out. You mentioned the Amish beard, and so I had a Twitter beef about this. I just want to point this out since you brought it up. First of all, I am not wearing this in an attempt to be Amish, but here's what I'm saying. This is kind of an Amish beard, though theirs would be significantly longer and cooler. You know there is no mustache, okay? What I'm trying to say right now is that Andrew Luck's weird-looking neck beard, make fun of it as much as you want, don't care. It is not an Amish beard. They would never have a mustache.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
We've learned, like, this is the more you know.
spitting knowledge.
So, Matt, would you like to add a little bit of trash talk for James Todd? Because you two were having a battle royale over my favorite thing, the fact that MFL 10s have banished kickers this year, but you two had this battle because they were talking about Team Kicker, which I thought was awesome. It's like
Yeah.
Team America. I don't know, maybe you could just explain what was going on, just the kind of beef that was happening a few days ago about.
Wow, thank you for making this incredibly awkward for me, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
This is what
Hour
happened.
20 minutes is what we're talking about now.
I am only going to state this from my personal point of view. Okay, that's all I'm going to. First of all, I have been rooting for Team Kicker for 2 years to my fantasy league. I've been doing it openly and honestly. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so last year I could not talk them into changing to Team Kicker. This year they realized they need to make a change. They decided to change to Team Kicker. Well, let me rephrase that. They decided to probably change to Team Kicker. At which point I said I was really happy about that. 2 or 3 weeks later passed. This last Friday night, this is what happened. I'm just telling this from my personal point of view. I am out with college friends at a conference Friday night having many of these and catching up about the last 15 years. I go to bed. I wake up and have 200 notifications that I'm not going to possibly read from Twitter. Apparently, people talking about this kicker thing, and the only thing I really did is I woke up and people were kind of coming at me, and I just had like the best night I've had of 2015. I'm riding high. I just saw friends. I'm feeling good, and people are coming at me, and I just went like, I don't care. I'm in a good mood. I don't care about this drama. I'm moving on with life. Have a good day. Whatever else happened after that, I have no idea. But that's how it started. That's all I did and said that day. So I can't, I like James. If this gets viewed later or he sees this or gets talked about, I like James. I have no hard feelings. I like everyone. So that's all I'm willing to say at the moment.
That is
But
the one.
did you guys meet in Temecula?
What is this joke everyone keeps making?
Oh, you don't know this?
No, I mean, I know that everyone keeps making the joke. I don't know why.
Okay, well, apparently 2 Kobe stands got into it over Kobe, and they had to fight, and they met in a place called Temecula. And so meeting in Temecula is the equivalent of a stupid fight, kind of.
No, there was no me. Oh, well, I can't say. I'm really trying to stay professional and classy here. I like James. I can't speak for anything that was said or that happened. The only thing I said to him personally was, I'm not trying to deal with this drama right now. I'm in a good mood. Perhaps some of that was misunderstood and came across wrong, but I was just like, I just had an amazing night. I want to enjoy my day. That's all I was. So I'm going to leave it at that. And, in general in life, I just try to be a lover and love everyone and wish everyone well. And I will say, I think of the fantasy industry, anytime you think of like high school, and I don't mean high school drama, I just mean you have a close-knit people who are always around each other. You know what I'm saying? You are around each other every day on Twitter. I kind of expect personality clashes to happen sometimes. There are people I really like that sometimes I clash with on Twitter, even though I really like them as a person, and to me this is expected. So I don't really sweat when some things happen. When you have passionate, strong personalities in the same room, that happens sometimes, and I understand that, and I just try to, have a lot of grace with people and wish everyone well.
Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna, this isn't gonna lead to fisticuffs. I just thought it was funny that there was an argument about kickers in a fantasy league, and
Kickers are people, too.
people seemed legitimately upset. I don't like team defense because I'm like, do you have team pitcher in fantasy baseball? Because it seems like the exact same thing, and it's kind of annoying. But based on probably your knowledge, I think that's why I drafted 3 defenses in the league I was in last year, and that's one reason why I stayed close, because I had the Eagles D, and they kept scoring touchdowns, and it's totally random.
Yeah.
It means nothing, and I kind of...
They were the most amazing random...
I love every league that doesn't have kickers and defenses. Let's just go offensive guys or long snappers. That'd be cool.
My biggest thing,
possible.
this is the conversation I had with Evan Silva when I heard a lot of people saying to my fantasy league, if you take out kickers, you're punishing skilled drafters. And so I was always curious. I always kept it in my own head. I actually just asked Evan Silva. I said, why? And I don't mean this to be like insulting or anything, but can you explain this to me, how this hurts skilled drafters? And he basically said skilled drafters are better with handling kickers. They know more about kickers. I said, okay, let me respond to that. I spent more time last offseason researching kickers than probably any non-kicking specialist in the industry. And I mean, there's probably, Mike Clay, what's his name, Mike Herman, or whoever the kickology guy is. If I said that wrong, I apologize. I'm a big fan. Those people spent more time. But I'm just saying, of casual drafters, I researched contracts. I looked up contracts, salaries, extensions, camp battles, how people are doing in camp battles. I looked all this stuff up. So theoretically, I had an edge off everyone else who didn't do that same work, okay? Here's my problem. I hated it. Like, I would rather, and this is what I said to Evan, I would gladly never do that research again to not have to deal with kickers. So they're doing no kickers, which works for me. I'm out of doing the research.
I love team no kickers, yes.
Yeah. So team kicker gets me out of that research, so does no kicker. Anything's better than individual kicker for me, so I'm happy either way. I personally prefer team kicker, but I'm okay with team quarterback, and I doubt most people are, so I'm just unique, and that's fine, but I don't care. So MFL made their decision. I was going to back them and support them either way. They decided to go with no kicker, and I'm happy either way, so I'm good.
Well, Matt, tell people where the heck can they find you to talk about stuff since we've been talking so long.
Yeah.
Do some pimping. Tell us, where do we find you?
You can find me in Sharona's front yard. That's where I set up camp in her bushes.
You're not supposed to tell everybody.
Oh, is that our secret?
That was supposed to be our secret, man.
I'll tell you what. While I'm stealing her Wi-Fi, you can find me on Twitter at @FF Rittle. So FF on Twitter. I'm stealing Sharona's Wi-Fi, and we can chat there.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty straightforward. So let's call it. I think we've had plenty of talks. So Sharona, tell everybody what you got going on, and where everybody can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter.
Without the binoculars.
Excuse me. At Sports by Sharona. You can find me writing about the NFL, the National Football League, at NFL Female. You can find me, I haven't written in a while, getting ready to hopefully get back in the swing of things, writing about the NFL for Pro Player Insiders. And you can check me out usually on Wednesday nights with Zach on Going for Two. Check out the Zone Blitz, the webcast produced by NFL Female, on Tuesday night. And we're back. We're awesome. We're back. Game over with Vashti and Sharona. Tentatively scheduled for tomorrow. We might have to move that to Friday because I've been incredibly busy this week. But we'll see.
We shall see. I'm easy to find, ZACH_LAW on Twitter, and you will get all kinds of nonsense, and I like to actually retweet people who know what the hell they're talking about, which is nice, like Mr. Rittle when it comes to his 500 MFL 10s. If you don't do it, we'll be sad. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mr. Rittle. Thank you for joining us, Puppy.
Matt, Libby wants to meet
Sharona.
you.
So we will say good night to everybody, and good luck, and good beer.
Good night.
Thanks for having me on.
Cheers.
All fun and games. You still have beer? Dang.
I do.
You don't know how you buy sucks.